fellow AI. It is my interested professional. This is Chartered Engineer India, and this is fellow membership again. And this is we have discussed, right? I have discussed this about something like this in miscellaneous. Today we have got long way, and I discussed like this, all this. Let us say, and also, we have to. Good evening. This is Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India, and my talk is for everyone, all over the world. I'm talking in English because mostly people understand that, and I'm talking to professionals and also to those who may be paraprofessionals, but they can understand what I'm saying. In last many videos, I took certain pain to explain something elementally pertinent, Microsoft Excel and Lotus 123. I had interest in Lotus 123 software because I started my learning of calculations using Lotus 123 after DOS. First I learned DOS, so this operation system, then I learned Lotus 123. So not complete suite, just worksheet, and that acted as my teacher, this worksheet, Lotus 123. And I realized that it had certain power for purpose of calculation. When I started this, at that time it has 8128 rows, 8128 rows at that time, and I don't exactly remember 255 something columns. Well, you can say this was when I started my learning of computer. It was 1998, so 1998, 99. So exactly I could learn something, see, in 2001, 2, 3, like that. DOS was having many commands, and I used them, like make directory MD command, and many more commands. I know you are talking that now. Then folders, make folders, and like this, so many commands. Well, this passed and it's gone. Now, what I say, I was taught then Lotus 123 in second go, which he told me this is sum, this auto sum, how to find this is copy command, this is paste command, like that. Means 10, 20 commands I was told by my teacher, but I could not have satisfaction in that, because ultimately, welcome Mr. Surendra Kumar Goswami, you're welcome, good evening, thank you very much for joining. So I said, okay, this is fine, I want more from Lotus 123. Well, I can't blame my instructor that time in that laboratory of computer. He told me there's no more command except this. He told me is an average, how to find average, and by way he explained to me, and by just going through help and all other on that software, I could understand that when he uses cells, and this you can use for calculation, for sum, auto sum, and then he just going to average, I think, 2 commands, and how to see how many cells are there, values are there. So actually, having mind of technology and mind of engineer, I was interested in something that could help me, because in those days I was writing manually certain script of spiritual numbers, applied spiritual numbers. I was writing that script, and I needed something to help me, because calculations can't be typed, it's very difficult to type calculation, and I have many calculations, many charts. Example, this my subject was, which on this I did research at that time, is applied spiritual numbers. So it's my hobby, and it had about 141 tables, long tables. So I had written a script with me. I had completely written and calculated everything manually, and it could take years to type them, if not years, at least months, and to edit them and months, and like this. Means it would not support me, and there were chances, expected chances of hundreds of errors. So I was just told by that publisher that no, there's no way that I can use this software Lotus 123 for purpose of this. That only PageMaker they can use and after typing. So I was disappointed, but I did not leave ground. I said no, I don't agree. I told myself, I didn't tell him. I asked myself, when it's software itself, means it can calculate plus and I don't know, he told me multiplication also by star. So no way at all. I will use mathematical formula on this, and I want results. Well, I just tried myself. I know what calculation is, what engineering is, what mathematics is, what arithmetic is, what trigonometry is. It took time, but I used a copy paste command. He explained to you just pull handle, write one, then write two, and pull that. You got it for 5, 6, 7, 8 times. No. I was not happy. I used copy paste command of Lotus. Paste range, copy and paste this from this range to that range. There's a command. There was a command at the time in Lotus 123. So I was successful in that. I wrote counting up to 8192 cells, up to 8192, cell address from A1 to 8192A, and then I continued with that. So I discovered that there's something more in that. Now it's really something, and that's the reason I'm trying to disseminate my brief information to all those who are hungry for information, hungry for formula, hungry for something else. It's not simply plus and minus and account sheet and bank balance and this and that. For which such a powerful software should be used. At that time 8,192 rows, now later on 64,000 something. Whatever number of rows, if you divide, you'll find complete division by 8. It may be rows or it may be columns, the same way, because computer system itself is 8. Every byte has 8 bits, we know that, and every bit is 2. So 8 is very important there. And so what I did, I tried a lot on Excel or Lotus for me, same. I tried to do calculation works on that, and I used that in my design work, elementary design work and detailed design work. I used that in my quantity engineering work, quantity surveying work. I did that in many. I think there was no subject in which I failed to use that. Engineering subjects particularly, it may be theory of a structure, it may be analysis, it may be design, it may be quantification, or whatever you can say, other formula derivation. I use that. I have many files since then. I can't show you all file because it's difficult to understand, and I spent a lot of time on them to formalize, because there's no formula available in whatever Excel book or Lotus book you buy. You cannot find those formulas from those. It's your intellectualism, it's your concept, it's your conceive. What can you do with that? It's up to you as an individual. It's not up to me. What concept should be in your mind, a formula should be in your mind. You should know what actually you want from this software sheet to do. Graphics or data is very small. I'm not concerned with that. They say number 1 is this, number 2 is this, number 3 is this, or in Excel you say this is cellular worksheet, and this is graphics, and this is this is data management. That's very childish, I should say. I'm interested in explosion of research, and that's my objective if I use worksheet. And if you cannot use that, then worksheet is nothing for you. Just a paper like MS Word means you can do little calculation, but I'm not interested in that. So I try to share with public, professional public and other public, how to make best use of this cellular sheet. You can say, I would not say worksheet, cellular sheet. What I understand from this sheet, my observation is, okay, computer language is there, that's okay. Bit and bytes are there, that's okay. But most significant point is that every cell, every address of Excel sheet or Lotus sheet actually are indirectly having power of computation, which means scientific calculator is attached to every cell. Though physically it may not be, but magnetically or electromagnetically it must be there. If it's not connected electromagnetically, there is no way we can get calculation from every cell. If you connect all cells or link all cells, put formula in them, insert formula in them, and wherever, if your sheet is having memory power, you can use that, you can save that. You will find every cell, there may be million cells, because I think, I don't know how many in latest sheet it is, but I use one sheet of more than 100,000, and also very much I use 64,000 something, and also columns. So if you multiply that 64,000 something and columns, you'll find millions of cells. So if you have memory, you can use all those cells in calculations, but it doesn't happen actually. We don't use, first of all, whole architecture of worksheet. We use only small area and say, okay, my file is over. Then it's another more smaller worksheet 2, worksheet 3, like that. So we use according to our work, not according to our mind. Okay, work for you are paid for work, so you have to do that work. And that's why work is not, I don't know, there's some work which require whole sheet. You may use whole book, you may use 20 worksheets together, you may use many workbooks together, but you are not using more than a few percentage of cells. That's the drawback of practical use. Maybe your work doesn't require that's the only reason. But if you do research work on that, you think what to do, you can derive, you can design longest sequence of formula, or I should say, I call it a kind of formula linked language. You may call it, rather than other language. Already language is there, C plus or whatever language in that is there. Whatever language, computer languages do exist. They exist within that architecture worksheet. In that I can say we can use this architecture further for purpose of formalization, and that formalization is very important point. Because if you understand how to do formula work, which your books want to give you, your books are very elementary one. They say small formula, but you say you want to link in one cell many lines, many formula, depending on your requirement. You can do that. You can do whatever exponent you use. You can do that. Exponent is power. This sign. What I'm saying. This sign which exists on 6, on numeral 6 key. Shift that style of the sign, which exponential sign, which can, I think, go up to 99 power, not more than that. I don't know what status the new one which I use was up to 99 power. It gives you a result. But that's a very important point. We should not be unserious about that. Actually, it's a very serious issue. We can use exponential powers. We can use trigonometrical power, sine theta, cos theta, tangent, all like that. And we can use direct theta, or we can use is in radiant, as you say. If it is radiant, then you have to convert it to real degrees, and you can say there's use of 180 degrees, 360 degrees, and we say in sine, one first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, all is 360 or 400 radiant. So 360 or 400, means 180 and 183, 64, and so you can convert this accordingly. There's no problem at all. There's a way to do that. That's no problem in that. Now, I'm just telling you, I'm talking of arithmetics, very easy. You can use this sheet very expeditiously, and you can take, I say arithmetic, then you can say mathematics also. It's a little higher than arithmetic. You can use geometrical formula, and you can use three-dimensional formula, and you can so use solid, and you can find plus minus all that arithmetic, and under root and square root and cube root, whatever that you can use very easily in that. I try to demonstrate that on sheet during live relay, and I say that's mathematics. And also you can go to calculus if you wish. Of course, you may not get a sign, but you can use a way. You can use coordinate geometry, of course, and you can use algebra, you can say, and you can use, though there are other softwares available, but if you wish, multiple purpose, you can use even x squared plus ax plus c, for example, is equal to 0. 2-degree equation, second degree, x squared plus ax plus c is equal to 0, or you can say x plus something equal to this. Means you can find value in that if you can understand, thoroughly application or use of formula. That's what I'm interested in to share with you, this information of formula. So you can go to trigonometry, you can go to algebra or some other equation or whatever equation. You can say left hand side to right hand side. You can try certain equation in mathematics, LHS and RHS, and you can do trial with that variable. That variable you can use constant, you can't change, and you can use that. I'll show you in some other time, in some other file, how to find values in beam design and column design, that you at this stage you may not be able to understand. I'm sharing general information today video because I've given you many videos, I think 3 or 4 videos, I don't exactly remember, during a couple of days, and this is regarding writing, counting, elementary counting, writing tables, and writing the formula and demonstrating them as well, square root, under root, cube root, and many other parameters we used, and that's very important one. So it may look sometime it's very elementary, but it's very important. For example, I try to write countings, I don't know, countings, counting is not very difficult. I'm talking of tabulation, I'm talking of tables, counting tables. Pahada you call it our language, in our language Hindi, I don't know what you call in your language. In English it's tables. So from 2 to more than 200,000 I counted on this worksheet. I could do more, but I don't know, you can go to what extent you have. So that counting I did, and I tried to give you something like fractional table, 1, 1.25, 1.25, 1.75, and like that too. And also on way one part, a table of 2, table of 2.25, table of 2.5, table of 2, like that. You can see those videos, which is very actually interesting and attractive. I tried directly, I did not do homework for that, so that's very important one. And I given you many more, many applications, you can say, like certain direct calculations on control one unit or one cell. That is minimum requirement if you want to formula something. Formula, when I say formula design or formula combination, you should think that I'm talking of application, direct application on certain software, because worksheet is a software. So I cannot say this is my software. I can say I'm using this software as an application or for application. Application means whatever formula you have, or whatever combination of formula I have, whatever relations of those formula I have, whatever links of all formula we have, when we integrate that one according to requirement, that's called an application. But that requires certain controls. All cells can't be controlled. Minimum control is one cell, and you can take whatever number of controls depending on the requirement. It can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5, it can be 20, it can be 50, depending on your requirement. But you have to highlight them, and you have to close all of the cells which are not at the table, which are not free, and you can say those cells which you enter value and change them, those are called free cell. You can't close them, you have to keep them open. Like in imagination, I'm closing whole area, I'm not closing this part. So this part of this cell is open cell according to common language. Others which are not to be additive, which are not allowed for addition, those are covered cells or closed cells. So that formula is available in Excel. In my sheet it's not working because I have very old software, but you must have that one. And you must have also ranges, means ranges in your Excel sheet. Range means, so there may be 500 areas you want to take separately, there may be 200 areas, there may be 50 areas, there may be 25 areas. You want them separate formula like calculation, so you can fix range of them, diagonal range, not horizontal vertical range. You can do horizontal vertical, but ultimately diagonal is very important, and that is means one corner of diagonal, left corner of diagonal to bottom right corner of that imaginary diagonal. That selection is range, and you can name this and you can keep it permanent forever. So the when you open a file, you press F5, you will find in F5 complete list of those ranges, and those ranges you can select whatever you want to go to, because F5 means go to. So when you have ready-made so the recorded range list, you cannot delete. You can delete that, but why to delete that? Question is that when it's useful for me, for my work, it will work forever until that worksheet works, and it's not going to, you have worksheet and you have backup of that, so, or you have online or in clouds you have. So what I mean is, you have many ways to expedite your work. You know it, but even then, talking is always better, conversing is always better, particularly to those fresh people, for those who may not have that much time, but they can understand. If you understand maths, if you understand your formula, if you know units of formula, if you know how to come with them, you can get better results, expedite result, and that's what is important, that's what is required. I'm not going to boast something, I'm not going to do anything about this. I'm just trying to give you this advice. Try it. Maybe you are not interested in mathematics, and particularly those guys, those students or those professionals who have lack of mathematical power, you can say mathematical calculations, who do not understand very well or who can't do it fast. I think this is best software for them. You can use millions of cells and you can formalize them, but you should know formula, you should know unit, you should know how to use that. That's important. And once you have to do starting work only, that's main point. You have to apply in your mind what I think and keep there, and you can change anything, whatever you want. You can change whatever you want, but you have to keep in mind whatever cell you want to keep open, you want to keep variable, you want to enter variable, that must be taken care of. And other cells which are result of those calculations, which are not your work of software, that should be very very intelligently done, and that should be very intelligently done. That's very important point, and that point should not be mismatched or should not be misunderstood. That's main point here. I'll let me put switch on my mic is off so that it should not be, because it's my so what I would say that it's okay. I'm not saying I'm expert on that. I'm just trying to help those who require help. It's not for those who are experts. I'm not talking of those designers who are engineers, who are all grades of engineers, all all branches of engineers. They know it very well how to use software, but in certain cases, it's better if you customize your requirement on this. Generally, where the calculation is required, I know those software like Stat Pro or like eTab, all those are backed up in worksheet. All the formulas are backed up worksheet. So indirectly they are using worksheet. To be very frank, of course, scientifically and three-dimensionally. I'm not using three-dimensional. I'm using two-dimensional. But thinking, you can do anything by thinking. Thinking is your friend, and thinking is your leader. If you want to make yourself leader, your self-teacher, you should make yourself self-teacher. And that's what I say. Sometimes I call this this is a language of self-teaching. RCC, I call it BDS. Is something. It's a kind of language. You may say formula language, means it's your own language, but you should know formula in each and every aspect. You cannot say, I have written this formula but I don't know details of that. You have to know details if you are professional or you are learning. I will not suggest, because you can't use this in examination, I am sure, but for verification you can do it at home. And it takes little time only to design and enter formula. I mean, formula is known to you. Derivation is not done by Excel, but formula is done by you. You know what a formula is, and you know what units are or values are. So it's very easy. One time you do it, next time it will do itself. As I showed to you countings, I showed to you tables, different types. I show you demonstration of complex, very complex formula, demonstration of sum, reduction, or you say multiplication, a product and division, like that. I try to show you how to work on them, and also I showed to you how to quantify. It's not that easy. You may say, what's quantification? That is the question mark. Every item in this world is measured, that, and that measurement is actually quantity, because based on that measurement we find either length, or we find width, or we find square area, you can say, or we find volume, or something else, parameter, or we find circle, square area, and we find circumference, or ellipse, or pyramid, or cone, or whatever, two figure or three-dimensional figure, or whatever is that. We use this mensuration, arithmetic, mathematics, all, and you can try whatever you can. And that's a very important point. If you try it, you can get a lot. This is only I'm giving you, because I covered just many minutes in this talk, and I'm happy I'm able to communicate with you in writing as well as by conversation, as well by talking to you, what's possible and what is not possible. I try to give lengthy calculations, and it's clear that computer software worksheet can write, it can calculate, it can expand itself, it can edit itself, provided we understand where control lies. And if we can't control, if you say no, I write 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, then it's no use. Then don't use worksheet, because you don't understand worksheet. Name is worksheet because it works. Maybe you may say otherwise. Oh no, because I'm working it's worksheet. No, you're working on MS Word also. You're working on AutoCAD. You are working on many other PowerPoint. It doesn't work itself, but only in worksheet. Actually, to be very frank, it works itself, but I understand 95% it works itself, and you have to work only few percentages. You have to just initiate root of that. I mean, it's like a tree root. I'm just giving command of root, and trees grown, branches and trunks and everything comes up along with fruits and leaf. That's what it does for you. I'm not going to continue too long talk on this, but important points I'm continuing. Now, if you try yourself, you can. Why is it quantification? Quantification means quantity. How much material is there, how much work done is there, and whatever valuation you do, value of that, all relevant, all relate to quantity. Quantity is measurement base. So just like I gave an example of box today, a box you might have seen, or you can say today's video, today morning, today is it's November 6, 2020. I projected to you one small box, which is having box means chamber, is having a base, and it's a four walls like small or big, and they cover with an opening that I call box, and I explained to you how to computerize that. That's main point. Now I can't show you here because link of that is available in this text. You can go and see what thresh link, and I can't show you directly because I'm not sharing screen this time. I'm talking to you. So during talk I can't share screen, and during a screen share I can't talk. I can only speak. I can't show my face. There's some problem in Facebook. They have not managed perfectly because if it's perfect, then if I'm talking to you now, if I shift to screen share, it should come, but no, and then again I stop screen share, I come to it should come, but because I think this is not perfect management, perfect organization, but maybe they are not having enough software engineers or competent software engineers who can do that. I'm not criticizing, I'm just giving this deficiency in its performance. So otherwise I could show you immediately. This is that worksheet I worked today as quantifier, means I use this quantification. So I tried in that worksheet is about 4 cases or 3 cases, I think, whatever. I tried to give as many details as possible to atomize, and the highlighted cells are there where you have to enter whatever you want. You got answer. I got answers in all these 3 cases or 4 cases, and it's not only answer of quantity, it's answers of percentage of those quantities for each, and costing. If you have cost per unit rate, it's a cost unit rate, we can compute that. That's so that also then I give you something else in that, how to vary. You can vary. I include the lengths of dimensions itself. That's very important point, lengths of dimensions, and that's very important point for formula link, and that's basic purpose of this worksheet. Then in other case I tried imaginary calculations based on certain imagination which I can't prove, and that is eras or yuga, or historical, you can say universe, how universe works, imagination. That is yugas, the title is yugas, or universal system, where earth 360 years are considered one universe. Here this is just given somewhere. I'm not scientist of that. I'm just using only 360 years of earth are linked to 1 year of universe. So well, I just included in that, because I don't believe in what we call in our system, our dharma. They say it is Satyug and Treta Yuga and Dwapar. I don't believe that. I say if you are talking mathematically, you are talking countings, so it should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then 0. It should be, otherwise it's wrong. And because it's all spherical, so it is perpetual. So where 0 starts, other side 9 starts. So 0, if you go in circle, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. Anyway, I start with 0, and I say what's name of that, the name of first, second, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. What does it mean, how it is? So I calculated those depending on imagination, depending on assumption, and you can see that also in today's case, that is this calculation, and I give you other calculations also. I'll give you more on that. I'll give you something regarding solar system, and I've given you something regarding earth as well. What is earth, what is dimension or diameter, and how to find spherical area, how to find cubical contents, and I'll give solar system imaginary also. It's not exactly imaginary. I tried to give in one, but it could not. This video did not work sufficiently, and I failed. No, it doesn't matter. Now, why I explained to you all this? That's the point. You may call it calculation. It's nothing to do with engineering. No, it has 100% relation to engineering, because engineering can't move without calculations. It may be design, it may be budget, it may be work execution, it may be procurement, or wherever you go, you will find only calculations. In engineering, it is 95% calculations and remaining 5%, different types of writings. Though those are very important, those are very important, because all those writing based on these calculations. That's the point here. If you don't have calculation backup, quantification backup, we can't do any other 5%, and that 5% is commerce. Commerce or coordination or communication, or money, or you can say whatever you can consider. And design is very important part. Design means all designs. I'm not saying structural design or mechanical design, electrical design. No, I'm not talking of specific design. I'm taking complete design. Design of concept, design of development, design of structures, design of machines, design of system, and design of how to work, design of writing, design of methods, and whatever, everything. What when you say design, this means you are going to sign something, and stage before signing is design. Stage, every stage, every step before signing something is called design. So design is a structure itself. Structural design for God, design itself is a structure of thinking, of concept, of mental capacity, of formula, of what's in the mind, of hypothecation, of hypothetical stage, what your mind is, how the information is getting in. That's why important to understand what design is. So we have, everyone, certain power of design in our mind, and that power I extracted into spiritualism. Not spiritualism I'm talking of, I'm not talking about spiritualism. I'm talking of soul spiritualism, that is based on mathematics, electron mathematics, and analytical study, not faith study. I'm not talking of faith, I'm talking of numbers. And this is not numerology, this is not numerology. Mind it, it has nothing to do with whatever you consider religious study, not at all. It's scientific, completely based how soul moves your body. And that's also application of formula, which is number that I designed, application of formula, and I have many more applications I have tried myself in life. I'm not claiming, but it's work done for you can say many years, couple of years spent on that, and that's why. So why I'm stressing all this today? Because I'm giving you more information, and that information you can digest only if you understand worksheet power or calculation. If I can write, say, tabulation up to 200,000 or more in few couple of minutes, or say 15 to 20 minutes, or say half an hour, if I can write about 300,000 tabulation, whole tabulation, what do you think? You know how many pages? If I can use formula many times, as I started with that book which I said applied spiritual numbers in 1986, it was 143 formula in that. So I had no basis, I could not understand anything. But once I could understand, I could make formula on Lotus 1 to 3. All these applied numbers charts from I call them chart or this tabulation, or name doesn't matter. From number 3 to number 143, 141 charts I had to design. I worked them out separately on Lotus, and I did not know how to. This was to be shifted to PageMaker in those days. So our PageMaker expert shifted them all formula, and I got those formula in book form. Otherwise, I would not have collected them, and it became very easy for me. And calculation mistake proof, error proof, because it is formula. Yes, there can be error, but if you make a wrong entry, if you understand formula and make right entry, you will find a speediest, or you can say very explosive calculation. You feel as if you are not sitting on some sheet, you are not working with paper. You think you are far away, distant away from that. That's the important point. Every activity in engineering, whatever branch of engineering you can say, I'm talking of my branch, and that's civil engineering. Civil engineering means it has many subjects, many subjects, like theory of structure, like structural designs, that's of concrete or structural steel or pre-stressed concrete, and it has fluid mechanics. It is also atomic physics, maybe somehow, but I studied that modern physics to some extent, and it has other forms of physics, other forms I'm saying, like modern physics, and it has many more designs, and you can say there are many more in construction, though you cannot say that this works, but quantity surveying is very important, where all these formula lies. And surveying, of course, to some extent, I cannot exactly say, when you work out bearings and angles, it can work very well. And I can't say in drawings, because drawing is something else. But for calculation of drawings, you can say, for example, you are making some building, you are doing drawing, so you can say what's coverage, what's dimension of this and that. That's you can find. You say, so you can say majority of final studies of civil engineering and mechanical engineering and electrical engineering based on calculations, and particularly civil, electrical, mechanical, architecture, and maybe many more. I'm not going into those, but these are very numeral based, calculation based, computation based engineering subjects. So, and in this is, I'm talking finally, you go back, you'll find other subjects like applied mechanics, like so many mathematics itself, mathematics, and you can say so many, so forth, and most then applications of engineering itself in tutorial form, and you get what I say. So if you want, even after qualifying your education of engineering, you cannot say that you know everything, because you are not done. You are not done. Even you do post-graduation degree, or you do doctoral degree, you haven't learned that much, which you can learn by applications in field. Applications are extraordinary, because here your thinking is like scientific work. You have to think, how best can I do that? In every, it be design or it be work on site, you have to apply, or maybe quantification, or maybe bidding, or you can say feed, whatsoever. You have to apply your knowledge scientifically. That's very important point. I got just 45 minutes hardly. And today morning I just covered 2 hours along for that screen share, and I think it's working well till now. I can't say up to later on. So when I say there is field engineering, some people mind, I don't know why. Field engineering is actually field of engineering. When I say engineering field, it doesn't matter This site engineering. Some people think when I say field engineering, this is site engineering. No, this is not site engineering. This is site related engineering, but not actually exactly site engineering. You can say this is something different. Something different it is, and the difference is understanding. Means you are a design engineer, you are a tender engineer, you are a quantity engineer, you are a planning engineer, you are a quality engineer, you are safety, health and environment engineer, or whatever sort of engineer you are, you have to work in all fields. So one is quality field. You may say discipline also. You can say discipline engineer. Generally, internationally, discipline engineering term is used. So that's also field engineering. Your field of designs, you can say my field is design, my field is analysis, and my field is construction, and my field is planning, and my field is quality, and my field is this and that. So you have to explore your understanding, not to stick to what you could imagine long back. Long back there was not everything available, so they used to think, oh, this because this is field, so called field engineer. You are in office, you are office. Oh, you can say yes. If you are in designs, you are office engineer. You are in coordination, you are office engineer. You are in communication, you are office engineer. You are planning your office. You may say because most time you sit and work from office. So that is just your classification. So actually your work is your activity, and activity. Now we cannot say at this stage that construction can be done from home, because ultimately you have to go to works field site and you have to control everything there. Maybe sometime it happens we can control for remote, but even then you have to work somewhere on site. You work, your people, employee or workforce or crew work, and whoever work. You cannot say cannot. So this calculation is very important for every engineer, every engineer, chartered or professional or whatever you are. It's very important point here. I'll just try to do reorientation of my sitting because of some fatigue I got today because of certain therapy exercises. So now I'm not here to encourage or discourage you. I'm just here to submit, to depose my point of view, what I think is accurate. I can change terms if I think it's okay, because it's thinking based. Now when we talk site engineering rather than calling field engineering or execution engineering, or you can say prosecution engineering, you can name it and means the same. And when I say these calculations are used generally everywhere, so this means if you want to expedite your work, you have to use first your brain. That's most important. Don't jump onto computer. You must have certain development of mind. What actually you plan to do, what you want to do, what you intend to do, we should say in professional language. What is your intention? If your intention is clear, your method should be clear, your path should be clear. And if it's not clear, when you start doing that and you know formula, how to apply, this computer would tell you this, your worksheet would tell you this is best way for applying, and that's best way how to do that. When I talk of field, I talk of contracts, because contract is very general term, extremely general term, contract. When I talk of contract, I talk of them standard contracts. So let me just stick to contract currently. When we say contract, it doesn't mean it is construction contract. It doesn't mean that it is design contract. It can be whatever type of contract. And every day you enter into contracts. Many times I included this sentence. I include this contention of contract. When you travel by train, even without reservation, you have a ticket with you. You travel by bus, you have a ticket with you. You have insurance, your policy with you. You have a flight ticket, you have ticket with you. So, what do you mean by that ticket? Do you know that? What's the meaning of that ticket? That ticket is nothing but agreement between operator and passenger. You are passenger and there is operator, the bus operator. I'm saying operator, I'm not saying driver, remind it. Operator, bus operator, train operator, flight operator. They are commercial as well as service people. And this contract of service, because you are buying service, this contract of service exists between that operator as party 2 and you as employer or client party 1. So you should think from that very basic concept, very basic criteria. What does contract mean? Where does it exist? For example, you hire some equipment. Let's say hire some equipment per day or per week on rent, and you have to pay to that service provider, and that service provider provides you that equipment or machine with certain conditions, and that conditions, those terms, and this service comes under that contract. So that is service provider, party 2, and you are your owner, or you can say employer, or you can say client, your party 1. You agreed to pay to them because you are employer, and that person agreed to give you this service. So that is contract. Don't take it otherwise. Basics of contract are same everywhere throughout world. There may be name differences, there may be something else. So you may say, I bought a machine, I paid, I regard that. This is a contract that this machine would work for you for so many years, and that is called guarantee or warranty, whatever it is, contract. Then you have to take post warranty, AMCs, and that's also a contract, annual maintenance contract. So we should be very clear. After all, contract, you may not note that, but every day you have contract. Every day. Sometimes you notice it, sometimes you don't notice because money is very small, sum is very small. Say you have bought just 500 rupees ticket, 1000 rupees. For you, this sum may not be very big, but ultimately this is consideration. We call this consideration amount, because without consideration and without terms, generally consideration is very important. Consideration means payment. Actually, this is contract, not consideration, because you are getting either sale or getting some service, and on the side there is some consideration for that, which you have to pay as party 1 to party 2, and party 2 shall provide service to you or shall sell this material or machine to you, of course with certain terms and conditions. And a combination of this consideration, this service, this payment, and terms and conditions constitute body of contract, and we call that contract agreement. It should be in writing or it should not writing, it doesn't make a difference as far as if you can establish party 2 or party 1, you can establish it's a contract, even though it's not in writing as an agreement. It doesn't make a difference, because contract is contract. If you can prove, yes, we dealt with this, so it's contract. In our country, Bharat, India, it is Indian Contract Act, and in many countries accordingly. Whatever contract you enter into in our country, you have to enter within you can say Indian Contract Act. It can't violate provisions of that act. Act is very simple, very clear, and all over world that applies. In this country, Indian Contract Act applies, but in other country, always similar acts are there, so they apply. So this was Contract Act is statutory, and under that statute, in this country, we enter into contracts. There may be international contracts as well, doesn't matter if you don't. But local statutory document, statutory instrument should not be violated. That's the important point in contracts, and it should be enforceable by law. It's not simply that you enter into contract, it can't be enforced. It should not be illegal, It should not be for illegal activity. It's not valid. It should not be real. It should not be for something which antisocial, like this. Okay, criminal activity. For example, I pay you 1 million. You take this money, go and kill that person. This can't be called a contract. I can say, okay, take this money, go and do this illegal act. No, that it's not permissible. It's not contract. It's void. So why I'm telling you is very brief about contract. Just like shoe, you can sue someone in court. If you want to sue and you have contract based because of you want to sue someone, you can sue only based on contract. This sue may be in judicial court or it may be in arbitration. And arbitration is very important term here. Arbitration many people may not understand, but this means it's legal. It's a statutory, means it's specific, you can say, kind of specific body or tribunal where something is tried and awarded. Tried doesn't mean criminal trial, means civil trial, where you have to go through complete documentation of contract and submissions from one party and submission from other party, and you have to adjudicate what party demands, whether it's right or it's not right, whether it's justified or it's not justified, it's legal or it's legal. That external court, you can say, or you can say not judicial court, but a specific court or a specific tribunal under law, under constitution, under statute. This means every person can be arbitrator according to what is the requirement of arbitration. And if it's given in contract, if that condition is included in contract, so you have to comply with. You cannot say this is you need not go to court. You need not go to court for that, because court loses its jurisdiction. Court doesn't cover that jurisdiction when arbitration applies. And even you can say it can be applied post contract as well. If you forget by chance, I didn't include this, so no problem. You can apply later on by agreement with both parties. By and between and by both parties, not one party. Just like a court judge, we don't appoint judge, but there's an agreement. Both parties agree to this court. Both parties and law we agree. So it's different kind of. You have an option. Yeah. Both parties an option how to move further, and that's also a judicial adjudication. Particularly in our country, in a Bharat, this is equivalent to court decree. Whatever award comes in, that's court decree. And for example, on such contracts where engineering work is there, complete construction is there, where ordinary judges and advocates are not aware of what it is that. Here, I like and I prefer and I suggest everybody write in that arbitration clause, arbitration contract. Actually, it's contract, you can say. It can't be clause that's saying it's a clause, because when in contract itself this condition is embedded, part of arbitration clause is another contract within that contract. Even if whole contract is void, say somebody declares, court declares whole contract is illegal or void, arbitration part cannot be declared void, because that is judicial one, and judicial I mean to say in force, otherwise it's contractual. So that is a kind of separate contract. And on such contracts which weigh engineering activities, or which include construction activities, which include like that, best way is to conditionally name that only arbitrators, those come from engineering background with so many years of experience, shall be considered. Otherwise, both parties will suffer, because ordinary judges and ordinary advocates are not acquainted with contract or with works. It's not insurance, it's not small cost suit, it's not property suit, it's not some other claim, it is engineering, where everything is considered in engineering terms, and we cannot say that everybody can do it. If you do not understand how work is done, how can you decide on that? It's not general, it's specific, it's professional. For example, in construction projects, on construction projects, there are hundreds of activities, hundreds of items, hundreds of procedures, hundreds of people involved, thousands of people involved, many classes of engineers involved, many classes of administrators involved. So there are so many complications, and we can't move like government moves or like other moves. We have to keep certain activities are free, and we have to record certain activities. We can't say you have to keep all records. Means it depends on your system, which system you are following, and that's all acceptable. But what is convention, what is industrial work, how it is done, only practically qualified engineers can understand, not honorable judges or learned advocates, but learned engineers. I call learned because they are qualified engineers. They are freelancers or not freelancers, it depends. But they can give you better service, and they understand contracts, they understand practical work. It's therefore suggested, don't don't leave that arbitration conditions of professional free. Right engineer and which branch of engineering with how many years experience should be arbitrator from both parties, by both parties, on behalf of both parties. That is very basic requirement, and that's why I come to this episode of contract, and we'll talk this in FIDIC. I will talk about FIDIC, that is FIDIC, Federation of International Chambers of consultants. That's consultants organization, and FIDIC comes from that. But it's not mandatory. You can design on those principles of FIDIC, you can use them if you want to use. There are some revisions on that. Say part original you have to use, and if you want to use, the general part is mandatory. And if you want to make certain changes in the general form, you cannot change in general conditions. You have to go to particular conditions or physics conditions, and you can make certain changes on the general conditions and like that. So those particular conditions shall supersede general conditions pertinent to those changes. Now I'm talking of field engineering, I'm talking of field work. Why I'm giving all this background of these subjects and these calculations? Because without this, contract is not possible. No contract is possible, even if it's a maintenance contract, or it's something, a unit item, say a subcontract, for example, or it's vendor supply, maybe, or it's complete contract, or you can say package contract, or you can say lump sum contract, lump sum fixed price contract. There are also fixed price lump sum. So what we do, fixed price is very, very complex arrangement, and also construction fixed price and EPC fixed price as well. EPC, a design, is also included in addition to procurement and construction, and that's called EPC. I had long talk with you long back before, but I think we have to do work again as I did on concrete specifications. I talked again continuously. So we will talk on FedEx and we will talk on this EPC also and C also. Both red book is called C, red book from FedEx, and silver book we call it EPC, and there is a white book for consultants, and there's another book that's yellow book is for design and build machines. So it's like that. That's a very important point in field engineering and other engineering. Let me see time now. It's already 1 hour, so no problem. Let me see when by the time I got my food, I keep talking if the problem is so. So I say my calculation is backbone. It's not backbone. Actually, it's anatomy. It's not backbone alone. It's brain bone. It's face bone. It's hands bone, arms bone, legs bone, body bone, stomach bone, backbone, and legs bone. So complete anatomy is based on computations, and computation is not easy in engineering. It's very you have to think a lot. So far I explained, I tried to equip you with you can say very small formula, very elementary formula, but that's very important. Remember, if your roots are strong, tree and branches and sap and your trunk and leaves and fruits shall be very strong. Particularly those students who are past school, I know they are weak. More than 75% students, of course, they run away from mathematics. You know reasons for that. I've seen many people. They can speak very good English, but if you talk to them about maths, I think they skip. No problem. I'm not worried about your intelligence. You have intelligence, but unfortunately, you could not use that on this subject. You could use that on English if you know English, or on Hindi, or on others. Unfortunately, if you do not know maths, you can't be a science student. You can't be an engineering student. Impossible. But that's why I'm stressing that's very important requirement. And so, if you want to build career, not as a journalist or a reporter, but as a scientist, as an engineer, not as a doctor, in that case, maths backup should be very strong. And if you're missing that one, but you understand, you can mold even post education. You can mold even you can extract use of worksheet for calculation purposes. I think it's not very big deal. You can do that, and it would work. It will work positively, and that's where we stand for that. And that's the only reason I'm trying to stress every time about this. If you want to achieve quality in whole system, my talk is quality. अच्छा मैं बंद करूँ पहले हैं. Okay, now I have to take my food, so I'm closing this video. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Okay, later on we'll talk. It's already 1 hour. Let me close this. Thank you very much.